What's up, people? Hey, thanks. Yeah, I found him in a really weird circumstance. I was at work and I was taking out the trash and there was a box behind my job, and I think what happened was a bird had picked him up and dropped him in the box, because there's no way he could have gotten there. He was only about an inch big when I found him, and he was just, and the box was huge. I mean, there's no way he could have climbed into that box. But yeah, he was just sitting in a box behind my work. Like I was out back, there was nothing in there. I brought the box out, and then I came back before work to throw it away, and I look in there and there's a little turtle about 1 inch big, and that was about 3 years ago, and now he's probably quadrupled in size. His name is Shell Gilberton. Here, dude. He loves food. Oh, I gotta turn my speaker off. Alright, there we go. Alright, so hello. I'm not sure how many people are gonna join because it's really late, especially here in the US. But we're gonna take some stuff apart. I just put a notification on Facebook. See if anybody else wants to join. Let me just take a look real quick. Alright, so let's get the camera set up here. Sorry about the motion. I hope it's not too jarring for you guys. Alright, so I'm just gonna monitor it on the screen here, just so I can see what's going on. It's gonna be a little bit delayed, but at least I can read everyone's comments. And in fact, let me I'm sorry guys, I'm gonna move around a little bit. It's gonna be a little bit shaky, so I'll try to be as steady as possible. I just want to get a good shot of the desk here. All right. Let me grab. Oh, you know what? Screw it. I don't need a hat. All right. So I have. Just show you guys real quick. So I have some drivers here. We're gonna do some tests. I got quite a few. So I got a tin Hi-Fi. This is from either the C2 or the C3. We're gonna take some measurements because I just want to see if they are the same. The dampeners on the back might be different, but I just want to see if they're the same. This is actually the driver from the T2 DLC, so I want to mess around with that. And then we have, this is the big one here. So we have, this is Truth Ear Zero, the silver one, and then we have the what is it? The HBB Con is the gold one here. So I need to graph both of these to see what the differences are. And then we also have see if I can get them in focus here. Come on. So then we also have the 7.8 millimeter diaphragms here. I got, let's see which one is which. So this is from, the one on the right is from the Truth Ear Zero, and the one on the left is from the Con. So we're gonna compare these. I'm gonna graph both of them. Then we also have a couple projects here, a couple things. I was gonna run past some people. I don't know how many people will join, but I have some stuff to take apart here, so I have some pairs of monk. So I wanted to take those apart, probably break out the microscope, and then we'll take a look at the monks. And I have some other stuff I wanted to see who wants to take them apart, take what apart, but I have, what is this, pair of, forget what these are called. I have them here somewhere. Oh, the X Glass Plus, so I got those. And I have a pair of, whoops, Moondrop Chews. I'm going to take those apart. I don't know. I might just choose one. It depends. If I don't get anybody to really join in here or stick around, then I'll just be doing my thing, and I'll just record it, and then I'll post it to the VOD, and you guys, whoever watches this tomorrow, can watch it in the VOD. I also have these. These are the drivers that I bought recently. They're a hybrid, so there's a 8mm DD in the back, and then there is a like an open mouth BA. There's no spout, so there's a BA on the top there, and yeah, so it's a hybrid driver. There's two drivers inside there, and I kind of wanted to take them apart because I want to see what the dynamic driver is, and then I want to measure. Eventually I'll have to make something up for it, but I want to measure the BA, see what the BA sound like. So that'll be a little project. And then I got some other stuff I can do. So I have, this was a project from a long time ago that I need to finish. But this is the BL01 shell, and this is the coffee bean, the CCZ coffee bean drivers. So I was going to implant the coffee bean drivers into the BL01 and tune them and make a new IM. So this has been sitting here for a while. Then we also got some other stuff we can look at. I have the what is it, the new, whoops, there we go. So this is one of the new KZ IMs that they sent me, and there's a new driver that they're using in here. So I might play around with that. I don't know. Not sure yet. And then I could also take apart the other 10 Hi-Fi T3, maybe. I don't know. I might keep that intact. But yeah, so I brought a few things out, so we have a couple things to play with, and I don't know. We'll see what's up. Hey guys. Hello, Yontan Salim. How are you? And Solar PP, how's it going? So yeah, and then I got a whole crap ton of stuff here. I don't know, I might do something with some of this, but we got a bunch of KZ IMs. Might try to pull a driver out of one of them. I have I couldn't even tell you the names, man. There's so many. The 3-letter. I'm already bad enough with names as it is. Okay, so that's the PLA there. But yeah, I'm so bad with names, and there's like so many different ones. So yeah, and I modified these. I took the plastic piece out, so they're open, and you can see the crossover inside of them. But yeah, so anyway, we got a bunch of stuff. No, I don't have the PR1 Hi-Fi. I have the PR1 Pro. It's with a friend. He's actually sending it back to me right now. So, once I get it back, then I will be playing. I'm not going to take it apart. I'm going to hang on to it because I already have the KZ drivers. I don't know if you've seen any of my videos, but I have the driver, at least one of them, sitting in a box to the side. So, I don't know. I might just hang on to them. I really like the way they sound. Like, they're one of my absolute all-time, like, most favorite IMs. So probably gonna keep them, but I don't know. That changes from time. Sometimes I'll look at an IM and I'll just say screw it, and I'll just rip it apart just because I want to see what's inside it. So you know, I'm not attached to anything really. Because I pretty much enjoy everything. But anywho, let me I'm gonna sit down at the bench here and get started with some stuff. Might be a little hard for you guys to see, so I'll try to get stuff in camera. I can't really see exactly what I'm doing because I'm on a big delay here. Where do I keep my measurements? Just on my hard drive. I don't really do too much. Like people have told me to upload them to squig.link and whatnot, but I don't know. I don't think my rig is calibrated well enough, and I'm not using. At least if I'm not using the same software, I'm not using like up-to-date software. So I have REW on my computer, and yeah, so I use REW, but I've been using an old version on my laptop because for whatever reason it seems that my laptop sound card is the only sound card that works with my coupler, and every time I try to use a different, like I have an interface here, this M-Box Mini, it works okay, and like I have a preamp because the M-Box Mini can't supply power to the coupler. It needs like 5 volts for it to operate, and yeah. So anyway, so I have to use this power supply, but I get all these measurements and they all lack bass. I've tried several sound cards, and for whatever reason, the only sound card that works is the one in my laptop that's like super old. The KZ AS16 Pro have a little nozzle to put tube in. Cheaper to get making sure. The AS16 Pro does not have tubes. No, I can show you. Give me 1 second here. I can show you the AS16 Pro. It's probably at the bottom here. I keep my like more valuable stuff, or the stuff that I use more often, at the top, and then I take the other stuff and I put it at the bottom. Let me just see real quick. Really? I just saw it earlier. Am I going crazy? Well, yeah, it should be compatible with any sound card. The thing is that Windows drivers and drivers in general treat every sound card differently, plus the sound card circuitry is a little different from unit to unit. So just because it may work with any sound card doesn't mean it's gonna yield the same results. And yeah, so that's basically what I've been struggling with. Every sound card has had a different result, and that's before. And the calibration file that they sent me is garbage. It's not correct, and I haven't looked into it too much, just because what I've been doing has been working. What the hell? Am I missing a container? Oh, you know what? Shoot, did I throw it in here? Oh yeah, I'm going insane. I'm sorry, guys. I'm going insane. I'm looking. Whoa! Whoops. Sorry, guys. Oh man, sorry about that. Oh man, I'm going insane. I really thought I had put it in one of those containers. Legato, yeah, man. I want one of those legatos. Alright, let's see. Let me just bring this back up. Sorry about that, guys. So this is the inside Oh, that is why. By the way, how many IM do you have in total from the past until now? Oh God, at least 100. It's got to be up to 100 now. It has to. There's no way it's less than 100. If it is, I'd be surprised. I mean, I have so many boxes, and that doesn't even count the ones that I like listened to and I didn't like, or I returned them, or the ones that I got that weren't in boxes. But yeah, so real quick, the gentleman that was asking me, who was it? I'm sorry, I can't pronounce your name, man. Hardian. So I'm sorry, bro. I'm gonna butcher your name. But the about the AS16 Pro. So these are the guts of the AS16 Pro. So you see the two mid BA, the four treble BA, and then the two bass BA. So there's no tubes. This is all. This is basically how they're doing it. So they have it all cast in resin. So this is like a 3D print that they made, and inside this 3D print, there are tubes that lead from the BA out to the nozzle. But yeah, this is the whole assembly. So this is what goes inside the IMs. So they wire all the BA together and then they just shove them in. But yeah, so there's not like, it's not like this kind of tubing. It's not like a PVC tubing. It's an actual, it's like a block of resin with tubes that are formed inside it. Sorry if you. No, you're good. Don't worry. Ask as many questions as you want. I'm cool with whatever. This is just a like a chill stream. This is just me hanging out and doing my thing that I would normally do, but just inviting you guys along. Feel free to ask as many questions as you want. Just hang out for the ride, and if you guys got other stuff to do, or if it gets too boring, you know, have a good night. But yeah, so what I'm going to do, or what I'm currently in the process of doing. So I have the video for the con and its comparison to the Zero, the Truth Ear Zero. They are very close in build. The parts are really close. Everything about them are like really close. So it's putting me into a position where I have to do more testing. So I have both bass drivers from each IM, and I have both mid drivers from each IM. So I have the 7.5. I don't know if you guys can see that, if that's in frame, but this is the 7.5 millimeter, and then I have the 10 millimeter driver from both IMs, and I need to measure them because I want to know exactly what the difference is between the two IMs. I have the crossovers, I have the components. I haven't really measured the components, I just looked at them visually, and they are pretty much identical. But yeah, they're very close. So I just want to get down to business and kind of see what's going on, what the deal is, because my video was supposed to come out a few days ago, and then I was looking at it and I'm like, holy crap, this is not enough information. Like, there's a lot more to this story than what I recorded. So, and I have graphs, I have pictures, like microscope pictures of the drivers, and the only thing I don't have that I can't measure is the dimensions of the shells. But yeah, I want to be as thorough as possible, because I find it very interesting how similar they are exactly. And probably this Friday, when I get paid, depending on how much money I have, I might buy another pair of Truth Ear Zero because they're on Amazon now, and I might pick one up so I can make a direct comparison. Because I should do a review anyway, and it's a good time to do a review with the Zero and the Con. But yeah, if you guys are looking for like, if so, I'm not dead set on it because I haven't listened to it in a while, but I'm under the assumption, or at least I believe personally, that the Truth Ear Zero might sound better. There are a couple things that I don't really care for about the Con, mostly in the tuning. The bass is a little bit different, but yeah, you know what? Here, I'm gonna turn my other monitor on. I do use a microscope that's connected to a computer. That is my microscope. It's a USB. It's actually sitting on top of my computer right now. Here, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna open REW. I'm gonna put it in the other window, so you guys can see my monitor over there. Oh, is everything gonna pop up over there? Okay. So I'm gonna be quiet for just a minute. I'm just gonna measure this driver. I think it's pure snake oil. In fact, there's evidence to support that. There was a study that was done a while ago. This was back in like the 90s, and essentially what they did is they took like a $1,000 audio cable, or like $100 audio cable, and they hooked up a set of speakers on one side. Or actually, they probably had them both together, but everything else was exactly the same. But instead, what they did is the only variable was they had a coat hanger conducting the sound, or like passing the sound. So on one setup, they had the coat hanger, which is like the worst metal that you could possibly use. And then they have like a really super fancy top of the line cable. And they brought in all these like professional like recording engineers and like studio engineers and stuff, and like hi-fi enthusiasts and stuff, like people in the industry, and they brought them all into one room, and they had them do a blind A/B test to see which one was the coat hanger and which one was the fancy cable, and they couldn't tell. It sounded the same. And basically, the conclusion was that a coat hanger sounds just as good as a $100 or $1,000 cable. Okay. All right. So we got our. All right, Yantan. Yeah, you have a good day. Hopefully, work treats you well, and it's not too hard. Hopefully, it is a peaceful day for you. Enjoy your day. Alright, so I just measured the con driver, the HBB con driver, and now I'm going to, put it right there. Now I'm going to measure the Truth Ear Zero DD. And if you guys want, I'll bring it in close so you can see. Well, yeah, you can actually kind of see the measurements there. Come on. So for anybody that doesn't know or doesn't solder, lead-free solder melts at a lower temperature than leaded solder, and pretty much all IEMs are built with leaded or unleaded solder, so they're a pain in the butt to desolder if you have your soldering iron set to a low temperature. And I always use leaded solder just because it flows better, so I always have to add a little bit of solder to the joints. Okay. So the sensitivity is a little bit different. Which one is this? This is the truth here. So this is the what is it? HBB X QK KZ common, and this is the truth here 0. See. Yeah, you can kind of see those lines. It's not that easy to see. I'll move the monitor a little bit so you guys can see that a little better. So yeah, so the red line is the QKZ HBB con, and the green line is the Truth Ear 0. And the FR, frequency response, is almost identical, but the sensitivity is off by a little bit, which is interesting because I measured them electrically, and they did come back a little different. So the con, I want to say, was like 32 ohms. It was like 33 or something like that, and I'm sorry, 29, and the 0 was like 33. So let's get the 7 point something millimeter driver. Oh shoot! What am I looking for? Here we go. So yeah, anybody doing anything fancy today? Everybody having a good day? Move this in the shop a little bit more. It's currently 4 o'clock in the morning here in the U.S. I have the next 2 days off work, so I'm just going to be doing a whole lot of this. But, yeah, just seeing if everyone's had a good day so far. Or night, depending on where you live. Alright. Oh, I could have put that on a little better. Oh no! Oh no! Ah. No! Oh shoot. I forgot. Oh well, I forgot this stupid LCP driver. I took the glue off the front of it so the faceplate falls off. Actually, I'll just take that whole thing. Well, whatever. Screw it. Okay, so let's grab a connector. So what I'm doing right now is I'm rigging up the coupler for the 7.8 millimeter driver. Basically, I have these little, I don't know how to explain them. They're like little caps that funnel the sound from the dynamic driver into the coupler, and they're just made out of resin. It's actually a little piece that I had copied from another IM, and so yeah, so basically how it works is I just attach them, and I have a little length of tube here, and this is kind of like the normal length of tube, but it's almost in the shape of a funnel. So it's not how do I explain it? It's not like scientific at all, but I always use the same exact setup for every dynamic driver that I measure, so they all measure the same, so I can get like a good idea of how they each compare. So it's not like you know, it's not going to yield a correct result like a BNK or something like that, or like a professional setup, or even like the ones you buy off AliExpress that fit the coupler. It's nothing like that. But then again, most of the waves are just like pressure waves, and it's literally funneling it directly into the coupler, so it's not really a big deal. It's most of the measurement is going to be correct. But yeah, this basically, what this does is this allows me to see exactly what the driver is doing. So it basically gives me the raw sound or the raw measurements of the driver, because everything affects the driver, the shell, the length of the tube or nozzle or whatever, any of that, all that stuff affects how a driver sounds. So the first one I'm doing here is the Truthier 0. Does anybody in here own the con, the HBB con? Has anybody bought it? And let me ask, does anybody like what is your favorite IM that you have so far? Like, do you own one? Do you own two? Out of whatever IMs you own, which one is your favorite? Okay. So this is the 7 Hertz Timeless Moon. Heck yeah, dude. Those are some bangers. I haven't personally heard the Timeless, but I mean that's what started this whole like planar fad, or planar frenzy, I guess you could say. But yeah, I haven't heard it, but the Moondrop variations I did hear, and I really like that one a lot. I had the variations next to the Mest Mark II, and literally like oh man, like it was a toss up. There were things that I liked about the Mest Mark II, but the variation was just so much cleaner and tighter in its presentation. It was just so much more like coherent, and the Mest was just kind of up and down a little bit. Like, some areas in the treble are just kind of like uneven or have a strange timbre to them, and the mids are kind of like separated from the treble, and like the bass flows nicely into the lower mids, but then once it goes from the lower mids to the upper mids, it gets like uneven again. So this is the Timeless AE. I haven't. So here's my thing. I can tune any IM I want, like pretty much any way that I want to tune it. So I personally have no need for like reissues, unless there is like, unless it's not just a change in tuning. Like if it's just a change in tuning, it's kind of pointless for me to buy it, you know, like the for instance the Olina versus the Olina SE, you know, because I could just make my own Olina SE pretty much. But if it's more than that and it's like got a different driver or a different shell and like different technicalities, you know, a different stage, different imaging, like then I could get behind buying a reissue. But for the most part, I don't know, it doesn't really appeal to me too much. But if people are saying good things about it and it looks like it's going to be a winner, then by all means, yeah. It's just hopefully they're not too similar. Hopefully it appeals to your preferences, because that's the problem. Is sometimes, you know, an IM won't appeal to like your taste like all the way, but you know, one that's like just slightly changed is much better, you know. And everybody hates using EQ. I'm not like above using EQ. Like I would totally use EQ if I need to. But I understand why like a lot of people would rather spend the money on a better unit or one more suited to their tastes than, you know, just applying like a EQ setting. Medicant Priest, hello. Duke Nukem, hi, bot QKZXHPB and HP. Oh, 8, sorry. KZPR1 Pro wanted to try 2DD crossover and I am like, oh my goodness. Feel something new with these 2DD. Will you feel like, are you saying that will the bass give you some sort of what do you call it, like kinesthetic, like some sort of sensation? Because if that's what you're asking, I don't think it will. The IMs, honestly, that have like really blown my ears away are the where is it at? Shoot. So this KZ here, I don't know the model. Let me find it real quick. Because there's two of them and they're tuned almost exactly the same. Here we go. It's the DQS. This thing, holy cow, dude! It like hits my eardrums like a freight train. Like the sound is just so solid coming out of them. But yeah, it's got obviously like a really fun kind of tuning to it. You know, they say it's U-shape, but it's pretty bassy and it's pretty. I mean, it's more balanced than previous KZs, but holy crap, man! Like the timbre, or not the timbre, the dynamics. Sorry, the dynamics of this thing. Like the bass just punches you right in the gut. It's pretty impactful. And same thing with the with their flagship. The only problem is these two IMs are tuned like identically, like almost identically. Like you could put one in one ear and one in the other, and you'll notice a difference in like timbre. You can hear the BAs inside of them, but the tuning is just super close, man. It doesn't really justify paying the extra price. I will say the bass is also just a tad bit tighter on this other one, but the DQS, like, that's the way to go. 14 bucks, you can't beat it. Like, even compared to the CCA, forget the CCA, don't even go for it. Just go for the DQS. But yeah. But yeah, anyway, what I was trying to get at is I feel more sensation with the DQS than I did with the Con. The Con's kind of pillowy. It doesn't have a lot of impact behind it. It doesn't have the best dynamics, I should say. It's a little bit soft. Sorry, I'm starting to lose my voice again. Excuse me. What do we got? What do we got? I used one more Comforter Buds since my ear canals are pretty small. Comfo Buds. So John, the Comfo Buds, is that a IM? The Comfo Buds Mini? Never heard of those. I've heard of one more, but I've never heard of the Comfo Buds. And so music holds a secret. Yeah, A is just a change in tuning. The original timeless treble hurts my ears. Yeah, I can understand that. Like take for example the KZ PR1 Pro. Like it's a pretty strong IM. Like the treble is pretty strong. It's not. I wouldn't say it's aggressive, but it's really in your face, and it has that um, planar timbre to it. So it's like I don't know how to explain it. It's like a zing. It's like somebody shooting a laser beam into your ear. It's just very very powerful. But yeah, it can be a bit fatiguing. So I can definitely see, buying another one if they toned it down a little bit. Now, you want to talk about going the opposite direction. The Tin Hi-Fi P1 Pro P1 Max. So the Tin Hi-Fi P1 Max, that thing was like overly dampened. Like it didn't have much life to it. It still had good treble, like a decent amount of treble, but just had no dynamics. It just sounded. I don't know if it, I didn't care for it. Like it was okay, but it it doesn't hit me right. Something about the driver just wasn't breathing properly. It was overly dampened. That's interesting. I wonder if that has something to do with the glue. I'll have to revisit that. But Luvaga Aprila. Yeah, yeah, of course. Yeah, KZ. I mean, and that's any company. Any company is gonna hope people buy their product. But yeah, I mean, I'll say this, and like, I'm not trying to be a shill. Like, KZ makes good products. Like, they make good stuff, but their business sense is a little off. They need to slow down with the releases, give the people what they're asking for. People want a high end KZIM, like not just a hybrid with a bunch of drivers in it. They want like a high end, like truly high end IM. They want less models. They want more models that are like, flat, like a DF neutral or some other type of tuning, not just a U shape or a V shape. Like people want them, people want KZ to experiment. They want to hear what else KZ has to offer, because the problem with KZ is you could buy all of their IEMs and you will get little differences between them, but the majority of their IEMs are going to sound like KZ IEMs. Like if you were to do a blind listening test, there's a chance that people could probably point them out just because of the tuning. I mean, but don't get me wrong, they sound good. They do sound really good. They're really nailing it. Like they're onto something with the way that they're building their IEMs. Because I'll tell you what, these are, to my ears, they're killer. But yeah, it's just the tuning. It's just the same tuning. Yeah, they're TWS. What I tried. Interesting. I tried the FH3 Legacy 3, but then I was ended up falling out of ears. Yeah. Yeah, they can get a little heavy sometimes. Alright, so let me just save this real quick, because this provided an interesting result. Both these drivers measure a little bit differently, so let me just do this. Oh, wait. Yeah, that's the con. And that's the 0. Okay. Wow. That is really interesting. So the Truth Error 0, the small dynamic, the one that does like all the high end stuff, like the mids and the treble, has more bass and more mid emphasis than the con does. The con is like flatter, and it has a lower bass curve. Now, so these can still be the same drivers. They don't. This doesn't mean that they're different drivers. So what it looks like they changed the voice coil on the con DD versus the 0, but when it comes to the smaller of the two DD, it looks like they just changed the dampener, because when you look at the upper frequencies, they're the same, and the curve follows till it gets to about 7 kilohertz, and then from there the peaks begin to shift. So you see that the 0, the peaks start lower. Now it could just be because maybe the dynamic driver is a little damaged, something like that, but I doubt it. So what I'm thinking is they changed the dampener on the mid driver, and they changed the sensitivity of the bass driver. So the bass driver on the con is more sensitive, aka louder bass, and then the peaks are shifted, so they changed the tuning using the dampener on the back of the con DD, bringing the peaks down a little bit, which makes the mids start a little earlier and makes them probably a little more even throughout. So, anyway, we'll save this. Alright. Okie dokie. Let me see. I'm going to bring you guys in a little bit here. And let's take a closer look at some drivers. Alright. So yeah, just to recap. This is the con, the little driver that's in the con. So it's 7.8 millimeter. This is the one that's in the Truth Error 0. and you can see that they are identical, except for the backs are a little bit different. So the PCB is just a little different on the con, and then again with the dynamic drivers, the base drivers. So this is the base driver from the Zero, and this is the base driver from the con. You can see they're identical in every way, except the shell color is a little different. Oops. So it's gold on the con, and it's silver on the Zero. So, and then this is that little hybrid. Oh, this is the little hybrid speaker I was talking about. So I want to see what the speaker looks like inside, so I'm just going to pull them apart real quick. I'm going to try not to damage them. Hopefully I don't. I have these little snips here, and I like to use these to take apart IMs. They work really well, actually. I think next time I'm gonna get some like some stock music or something playing in the background. Well, this is not going well. Oh, there we go. All right. All right, let's look at that. You see that okay? Here, let me... Sorry guys, I'm just gonna move the camera a little bit. Hopefully it'll be a little easier to see. There we go. All right. Just want to make sure it's easy to see this. So here is, that's the BA on top, and then you can just make out the dynamic driver underneath it, just kind of sitting there. So let's pull it out. And there's a couple wires that are soldered that are attached on the back here, so I need to get those off. So I'm just gonna do that real quick. But yeah, so for anybody that was curious, I will have the con video finished tomorrow, but I just needed to take a few more measurements to make sure that I got everything that I needed. All right. Oops. Okay, so there's the BA unit. There's little wires coming off of it, and there's the back of it. So yeah, now let's just hope I can get it to come off without damaging the BA, because the BA's got plastic around it. What's up? What's up, what's up, what's up? Anybody here in their 20s or 30s, like late 20s, early 30s? If so, you might remember that Budweiser commercial from a long time ago, where the guys were all like, "What's up?" And you had the dude, he's like, "Hey Dougie, what's up, Dougie?" Dougie's like, hey, what's up? They're like, I don't know, stupid. So, yeah, I'm glad I was careful with that, because, yeah. Yeah, that's cool as long as you remember it. um, yeah, that was a funny commercial, man. That was hilarious. So yeah, so I don't know how to explain this, but there's this BA driver here is wired up using like a flex ribbon. So it's best to be very careful with it. Come on, focus. So yeah, there's like a flex ribbon and it's got like a potting compound on it. Come on, you fucker. There we go. So yeah. Whoops. I'm gonna get in trouble with YouTube for cursing. Anybody here play games? Video games? I was watching some gameplay earlier of High on Life. It's the new Justin Roiland. I forget the other dude's name, but it's Justin Roiland and whoever else freaking made a game called High on Life. Looks pretty good. It's kind of got their sense of humor behind it. That whole I don't know which came first, but I remember, yeah, from Scary Movie. Yeah, that was another one. Was it Scary Movie or was it no, yeah, I guess it was Scary Movie. So I'm trying to think. I thought maybe there was another one that did that. All right, where'd that DD go? Uh-oh. Oh, shit, it's in my stupid clamp. All right, here we go. Can we see it okay? So you can kind of see it. It actually looks a little smaller than I thought. It's pretty flat. But yeah, that was the dynamic driver in that little combo. Pretty interesting. Let me load it up and see how it measures. Yeah, man, I'm a child of the 90s, dude. I was at work earlier today. I was listening to some techno. And it brought me back. For anybody that doesn't know or isn't familiar with Florida, we're famous, kinda, for a style of music. It's called Florida breakbeats, or like Florida breaks, or sometimes they call it Orlando breaks. You guys can look it up if you want, but it's like a techno from like the 90s, and it was like right around the time where I was like a teenager, like 13, 14, and I used to record the Friday night dance party on my radio, and I would make cassette tapes of it so I could listen to them later. And yeah, I wasn't a part of the like the club scene or anything like that. I was way too young for that, but I used to listen to that stuff on my radio like every Friday and Saturday night, and I always get in trouble because I'd be up at like 4 a.m. listening to dance music. And then I went from dance music to talk radio. But yeah, I was listening to some of it today and it brought me back. Alright, so if you wonder what I'm doing, so there is the rig. I'm just measuring this little 8mm that I got out of the combo. I just want to see how it performs on its own, because when I had it wired up with the BA, it looked a little funny. Yeah, it still looks funny. It's kind of a weird graph. Weird looking dynamic driver. I don't know if it's good for anything, but it's definitely interesting. This is fascinating. Thank you. I mean, now that I'm like doing it in front of other people, it seems pretty boring to me. Like I'm like, why would I watch this? But as far as like me personally, I love this stuff. I can't get enough of it. I tear shit apart and I do like measurements and stuff. Eventually, one of these days, I'll like, you know, work on building an IM, but I want to at least like, I don't know, maybe get like another camera and have like a 2-camera setup so I can like A/B and go back and forth. I need to get a better stream setup. Thoughts on the con drivers used in general. Thoughts on the disassembly. Dexter. So the drivers used are, I don't know how to explain it. They're like on the cheaper side. They're not bad quality, but they are on the cheaper side. So this milky white LCP is a way cheaper type of LCP than, for example, the yellow LCP. And I actually have it right here. So I kind of messed around because I thought this would be kind of cool, but this driver in here is the driver for the Leia, the triple win Leia, and this is like a kind of like a milky, like a yellow but like a brown LCP. And anyway, I just thought it'd be interesting to put the triple win Leia LCP driver instead of the con driver, and I'll show you real quick if I can. So I try to have the brightest lights in my room as possible, but this room still is a little dark. But yeah, so you can just make out that this LCP has kind of like a brown, like a yellowish brownish kind of tint to it. So this is a more expensive type of LCP. And then the most expensive would be like the straight up yellow LCP as found in the C2 and the C3. Now that could have changed. That might not be the case anymore. There are various thicknesses and textures of LCP that run from like dirt cheap, where I can get like a pack of like 10 of them for like $3, and then you have like some that are like, you know, $40 for a pair of drivers. But anyway, my general thoughts are the drivers are good, but they're on the cheap side. They're pretty well implemented, but for the most part, the design was just copied from Crin's Zero, and the build quality is pretty much the same. So it's just a cheaply printed, like 3D printed shell. Now, I will say this, whatever you do not drop these. They are delicate. The resin will easily crack. So and I think they might even crack easier because these have metal faceplates, which are heavier than the resin faceplates of the Zero. Also, this QDC connector here is much more fragile. So just from taking the faceplate off, I don't know if you could see it, but I cracked all the way down the seam here, and I ripped off the connector. Like it like cracked and it went backwards. So I had to repair it with resin. So there's a hole, like a crack down there, and that's literally just from taking the faceplate off. So so yeah, not the greatest build quality. It's not bad, but the problem with it is because they house 2 drivers and the position of the drivers, they had to make the walls a little bit thin. So if they made the walls a little bit thicker, then it would be a little bit more durable. And also, another problem with 3D printed resin IMs are the nozzles. So these nozzles can crack much easier too. So just be aware of that. And also, don't leave these out in bright sunlight for a long time, because if you leave them out in bright sunlight, this plastic will brittle and they'll crack way, way easier. Yeah, it is thin. It's not thick. It's maybe a millimeter, maybe. So, yeah, and it's probably, well, yeah, I think the walls are probably the thinnest part. So, is it better sounding than HM20? I'm not sure. I have to get the HM20 back. I think the bass probably sounds better, maybe a little bit. But I think everything else about the HM20 sounds better than this. The mids, the treble. It's less coherent than this. The HM20 is less coherent, but it's got better soundstage than the Con. Definitely has better soundstage, better instrument separation. Yeah, and I think the tuning from like the mids up is probably better than the Con. The only reason why I say that is just because the Con is just on that peak for me. It's just on that threshold of being like honky, not shouty, honky. That's a funny word, but it's just because where it starts off at, it starts a little bit lower, and the mids occupy a more like an area more closer to 1 kilohertz. The closer you get to this 1 kilohertz mark here, I don't know if you guys can see it. Sorry about the jerky cam. But yeah, the closer you get to this 1 kilohertz region here, the honkier it gets. So, I don't know how to explain it, but like the lower mid texture from like 700, probably about 600 and under, is more of like a pillowy kind of texture to it. It's very soft. I don't know how else to explain it, but the timbre in this region is just like a softer, more pillowy timbre. But once you start getting into this 1K region here, it starts getting aggressive, and that's like where you get that honk sound from. And then once you start getting to the 2K region, that's where you start getting into the shout. So it's got a little bit of that honk, and it's got a little bit of shout. So it's just on my threshold of preference for mids at least. Let me open something. But yeah, to answer your question, I think I probably got more enjoyment out of the HM20, but that's just going off of memory, and I didn't spend very much time with the Con yet. So I have 2 more pairs coming. So once I receive those, then I'll do a little more. But also another thing you got to keep in mind too is the Con is only $40, and the HM20 is like 60. It's worth the $60 in my opinion though. Not unless you like bass. If you're a fan of bass, then maybe not, because the bass isn't that great. What am I looking for? I don't have it, do I? T. There we go. Alright, so this is another measurement that I did. So this is the Truthier 0, and these are the raw driver measurements. So I'm not sure when it says both drivers, I'm not sure if that's without crossover. I'm pretty sure it is. But yeah, so like the purple line here is the subwoofer without the crossover. And I did these exact same measurements to the con as well. Um, and I'm gonna put these all in the video. But like this is the mid-range driver of the Zero by itself. The Zero and Con have some difference in technical performance. The only difference in technical performance that I am aware of, and like I said, I haven't given it very long, like I haven't listened to it very long. I listened to it for a few hours and then I took it apart. But from what I heard, and I talked to a friend earlier about it today, and he kind of confirmed my suspicion is the bass on the Truth Ear Zero is more detached from the rest of the sound, which gives it that kind of like subwoofer type nature. It really accentuates the sound of the bass and puts your focus on it. It's a little bit jarring at first, and that's why I think some people didn't like the Zero when they first heard it. But when you let your brain kind of break into it, um, you'll really it really grows on you. I loved the Truth Ear Zero. The Truth Ear Zero is like one of my all-time favorite IMs. But but what I was gonna say is, at least for EDM, for like electronic music. But anyway, the con is, from what I can tell, more coherent between the bass and the mids, but it sounds a little bit muddier in that area. It's not as cleanly separated, and and because the mids themselves are also a little bit louder, it's, I don't know. It's anyway, but as far as pure technical performance goes, yes, they are pretty much the same. The timbre is the same. The imaging is almost identical. It's a little different just because tuning affects imaging, and because the tuning on the con is a little bit thicker, the imaging might suffer just a little bit because the tuning's a little bit thinner on the Zero. It will emphasize the details a little bit more, and so you'll get this kind of like wider soundscape, um, because you're not having all the mids kind of pull pull your attention away from everything else that's happening. So for anybody that's not aware, when music is recorded, um, all the information is intact, but when they go to master a song, you lose a lot of positional or like directional fidelity. So like the engineer can like pan stuff to the left or the right, um, different areas or whatever in the sound stage. So just take like this monitor, for example. This is like your sound stage. So there can be instruments with various positioning, but what happens is, to this happened after the loudness wars. Okay, so from the late 70s to the early 80s to the 90s to the 2000s, essentially music got louder and louder and louder and louder, and they compressed it more and more and more and more. And so basically all these mastering engineers have pretty much figured out the art of compression. But then also now you have all these streaming platforms which they compress the music again, not just literally like in compression, like saving space, but they compress the dynamics and the stage. But anyway, so a lot of people don't understand that this mid area here is compressed to such an extent that you'll get little blobs that jut out from side to side, but because the frequencies are so large, they squish the stereo image. So when you have an IM that has more of this mid region here, it's going to bring the imaging in a little bit. That's not always true. It depends. But for the most part, these waves, they occupy a greater amount of space, So an engineer is going to squish down on them more, not just volume wise, but also separation wise. They're going to try to gain a little more space in other areas. So like your treble and your upper mids is where all your spatial information is going to be. And then in your bass, that's where you're going to have the least. They'll now to kind of emphasize different what do you call it? Oh shoot, what's it called? God damn it. Fuck, I can't think of the name now. Sorry, I just had a total brain fart. Psychoacoustic, I'm sorry. There's certain psychoacoustic effects that the engineers will want to preserve, which has to do with like phase relationships in the bass area, and those are very, very prominent. It makes for like a cool effect, so they'll keep some of those intact. But you'll see a lot of the mid region will get more compression than any other region, and they have, just like this graph is laid out in different bands. So do you have a band compressor? So there's like one called the L2 and the L3 by Waves, which is like a set of plugins, and they're mastering compressors, but they have like a band mastering compressor, and you can change all sorts of parameters. So I can compress the mids more than the upper mids, and I can compress the bass more than the treble, and I can also control the stereo image. What is compression in a graph? There isn't. I'm just saying, I'm just using this as a reference, as like I'm pointing to the various frequencies. So there is no like compression in a graph. Oh, what's up, Delta? Sorry. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if anybody's used that term compression in a graph, but I'm just using this as an illustration. It's poor, I know, but I'm just trying to get the point across by using this as, I don't know, a pointing bass mids. I don't know, but yeah, but anyway, they compress the image. So, oh yeah, you're good, man. You're good. I was just saying that usually IMs that have more presence in the mid region, normally the imaging kind of suffers a little bit. But IMs that are usually a little bit on the thinner side, not necessarily bright, but like a little bit less mid bass, those IMs typically have a little bit better instrument placement, or yeah, exactly, yeah. But yeah, usually there's a little bit more room in the stage, so you have more like greater amount of separation between instruments when you don't have as many larger waves taking up space. And one thing that people don't realize is or they don't understand is your brain has a finite amount of attention. So whatever region of the frequency spectrum you give the most emphasis, that is going to be the area that takes up most of your attention. And certain areas are going to have more information than others. I mean, obviously, always the upper treble end will have more information than lower frequencies, but they're so far apart from each other in terms of tonality, I guess you could say, that, you know, something that happens here is going to take your mind off of what's happening up here. And if this area, you know, is muddy or whatever, or even just the waves being larger, there's less room for things to happen. There's less room for dynamics and whatnot. It just depends on how the engineer mixes. But yeah, I've noticed personally that IMs that are skewed towards like warm or bassy have imaging that suffers. Yeah, dynamic, yeah, it reduces dynamic range. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean that's pretty much what you're doing when you compress something is you're reducing the dynamics the dynamic range from high to low. Um, like one of the hurdles that I had to cross when learning how to mix or like engineer a track is when you go from having like a chorus to having just a vocalist singing and like a maybe a guitar in the background and keeping it all at the same volume dynamically, um, so that way when you know play it on the radio or you play it somewhere else it doesn't seem like everything drops out, and also so that way when the singer, it's just a singer and a guitar instead of like a full band, instead of you know being so crushed now that the singer and the guitar sounds super loud over everything else just because there's no dynamics. What source do I use? I mainly just use my Qdelix, my 5K, but I also use the ESS 100, and those are my main go-tos. My backups are the TK2 and the Little Bear B4X. It's not really a source though. I mean, it's just an amplifier, but bass speed is a big factor. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, no, what I was just trying to get at is how engineers normally mix something. Like, for example, larger waves are going to get squashed and are going to have much less dynamic range than smaller waves. And a lot of times they'll use what's called like a band compressor, um, or like a brick wall limiter, or like a band limiter, if you want to call it that. But yeah, and usually in the mids is where you see the most amount of compression, but they don't just compress it dynamically, they also compress it spatially. It's kind of weird. Like you can narrow the stereo image, but naturally by lowering its dynamic range, you're decreasing the image. But anyway, but yeah. With that being said, my preference is for brighter IMs, and that's just because normally I get a wider sense of head stage or head space, and instrument separation is greater, and to me that that is more important than like width or depth is the instrument separation. I want to be able to distinguish everything as much as possible and be able to separate out, one thing from another. And sometimes when you have IEMs that emphasize on this area, things get kind of bloated and you have trouble determining, picking things out from one another because a lot of your information lies in this area up here in the upper areas, the upper registers. So you lose. So what happens is with a waveform, you have, you know, bass frequencies, those have tonality. Tonality stops at like 10 hertz or 20 hertz. You don't hear tone below 20 hertz. That's another reason why they stop it at 20 hertz. At that point, it becomes a feeling where it's just a pressure wave and there's no tonality to it. It's just a feeling. It's a perception. But as you go up the range, once you get to like 10 kilo, or I don't know, maybe like 8 maybe 9, you start losing tonality and you can't detect any tonality, but you detect timbre, and that's why, like, for us, treble is so important, for the human ear. It's just because that's all you hear up there. But that's also where the most amount of information lies, which is interesting because there's no like tonal information, but you get a lot of, I don't know, dynamics maybe. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what it is, but I mean the frequencies are smaller, so you can fit way more into a given length of time than you can a lower frequency. Transients, yeah. Limit of the chart, right? And sorry if I'm talking myself in circles or I'm not quite making sense. It's just because I'm tired. It's late at night. I'll be right back. Give me 1 second. I need a drink. Where did I put my drink? Dude, where is my drink? Ah, there we go. Alright. Yeah, so yellow cone, I don't know, you know the terminology, man. It's been so long since I used a lot of that. But yeah, the freaking transients, dude. That's where all the transients are in the treble area. Well, that's where most of them are. I mean, you get them other places, but that's where a lot of stuff is. A waterfall chart can show decay, base quality. Oh yeah, for sure. That's why I like using waterfall charts for that. They can also show like you said, decay. And so yeah, basically like the speed of a driver, but for whatever reason, no, what is it? Waterfall. There we go. For whatever reason, like I've looked, and usually it doesn't matter what I measure, but like everything usually stops at around, I don't know, I want to say like 120 degrees, something like that. And now this is a way different graph. I don't know what's going on up here, like in this upper end, and this is pretty bad right here in the mids. But this is that little 7.8 millimeter driver. The RT60? No, that's the one. No, I haven't used that one yet. Here, let me see. Generate. I mean, I've played with it, but I haven't actually like paid any attention to it. What does it say? 503 milliseconds range. So this is the amount of dB. So the vertical is volume. So yeah, the SPL, and then the horizontal is the length of time, but SPL, that's frequency. And then this is, okay, so it's plotted out. So length of time is depth. So 0 milliseconds is the back wall, and 500 is the front. Oh, okay. So yeah, it slices. So yeah, you can take a slice. Oh, okay, okay. I see. I see. Oh, thanks for explaining that, dude. That's awesome. That's awesome. Okay, make it more wider. Okay. Huh. I have not this. Okay, cool, dude. I didn't play around with this enough. I had no idea that it could do this. I don't know where my thing went. Let me do it again. I zoomed out and I fucked it up. What did I do? Oh. Okay, I just zoomed in too far. I'm zoomed out too far. Alright. So yeah, I'll have to get used to that. I'll have to kind of play around with that a little bit. I guess the whole area to focus on is like in this area right here, like in the kind of green band to like the bluish band. Yeah, man. I know, REW has a lot of tools in it, but I just don't know how to use half the crap, and I'm too lazy to actually like motivate myself to learn. I hate to say it, but I don't know, I'm a bit of a stooge when it comes to that. Um, because it basically does what I need it to. But yeah, I haven't got into like half this crap, like clarity. I don't know, decay. I guess that's just another way of measuring response or something. Oh, okay, I see. So I guess that's similar to RT60, but the RT60 is I don't know, what, a greater length of time or something. Because the decay only goes up to 160 milliseconds. It looks like. I don't know. I'll read through the information or the README. One of these days I'll get around to doing that. But yeah, man, that's cool. That's pretty helpful. Yeah, like right now, pretty much all I do to tune IMs, I just take measurements of each of the drivers. Oops. And then I just see like where their kind of like natural crossover points are, and like I examine each of their sensitivities like overlaid on top of each other, and then after I like put it together and I start putting together the crossover, I just go purely off of the frequency response, and then occasionally I will look at the waterfall just to see how my bass is looking. I always see resonances right here in this 50 to 60 range. There's always like a weird resonance there, and I don't know if that's just like the measurement. Like, part of the reason why I haven't gotten into a lot of the features on here is because I don't trust the information. I don't trust the measurements. So, but how can I trust them, I guess, if I don't really look into them a little further? But yeah, I'm just not sure what I'm looking at. But but yeah, I've always, on like every dynamic driver that I've tested, there's always been just like a little bit of resonance, or I guess you could call it decay or whatever, um, in this like 50 to 60 hertz region. But that I'll hardly use that. Mostly I'll just use the frequency response graph, and I'll play around with that. Alright, let's go down here real quick. I'll take some IMs apart real quick. Actually, I don't know if I want to take these apart. Anybody ever hear of these? This is the X-Lass. This is the X-Lass full-bodied, I don't know, X-Mini X-Lass. These IMs, I bought them off Amazon for 20 bucks, and they're okay. They're not bad, but they're a 1BA 2DD. But they're all sold out now. I can't find them anymore. And I took one of them apart just to look at the dynamic driver. And it's actually a nice driver, but I really want to take them apart, but I can't get them anymore. But anyway, yeah, they're cool color and like nice design. But yeah, and they're made out of metal too, full metal build. But they were only 20 bucks. And yeah, anyway, I don't know if anybody's ever heard of these. There's a bunch of weird. One of these days, I want to go on Amazon and I want to like pick up all kinds of like weird IMs that nobody's ever heard of. Because there's like a few on there. It's just like AliExpress. Hokage just released a new IM like a couple days ago or like today or something. It's the C, what is it? Sea Queen or Sea something? Sea Girl? I don't know. But it uses a I don't know the size of the driver. That's the problem. Is it's a dual driver IM. It's not an expensive IM. It's like 80 bucks. And it's a coaxial dynamic driver. And it looks good, but I don't know what the size is. If it's like an 8 millimeter, then there are a ton of them, and I could get those anywhere. But if it's like a 10 millimeter coaxial, I haven't seen very many of those, and it makes me very curious. So I don't know if there's anybody that I can get in contact with at Hokage. I don't know how you pronounce their name. Hakai. But yeah, I would really like to try to like figure out if that's a 10 millimeter dynamic. So, but hey, Delta, you still in here? Are you still doing something in here? I was gonna ask you, do you have the have you bought the con yet? And are you thinking of buying it? Also, do you own the Truthier Zero? Oh shit, I've messed that up. Don't break the wires, don't break the wires. That's an interesting membrane. I should put that under the microscope. That looks like some sort of composite. Odyssey teardown? Or Audis? I don't know, man. Somebody get me in touch with them. Uh, I can't spend the money. I know they're not cheap, that's for sure. What's the guy? There's a YouTuber, IM guy, tech something tech. God damn, what's his name? Tech. I don't know. Anyway, his name starts with Tech, but he started with like KZ IMs, and then like out of nowhere, he got like an Audis planar. I mean planar IM, and I was like, damn, dude, like that's crazy. That's a real big come up. But yeah, he did some content on that. But apparently those are pretty expensive. So one of these days, I will get into earbuds. I promise. One of these days. The notes are a bit fuzzy. Not really. Yellow cone. I mean, a frequency response chart can't really show if drivers are interfering with each other. The only way that it can is if you graph the individual drivers. And then when you see them all overlaid, then you'll know like where they're interfering with each other. But just by like graphing the whole like IEM itself, it won't reveal anything to you. I mean, unless the only okay, I take that back. I take that back, I promise. It will reveal if it's bad enough to the point where you have like a phase inversion. So if you have it's kind of hard to explain, but phase and frequency response kind of go hand in hand. Sometimes it depends. It depends on the degree of phase, like the phase angle, I guess they call it. And basically, how many degrees it's out from being in phase. So, like if the middle is 0, each degree would be like, a couple milliseconds. And as you get more and more, more and more degrees out of phase, you end up playing reversed to whatever the other driver's doing, and that's when they cancel each other out completely. But anyway, what I was going to say is if you have drivers that are interfering with each other, sometimes you'll see a big dip. Like you'll see a dip and then you'll see a peak. So if you see like a peak and then a valley, or a peak and then a dip, whatever you want to call it, like right next to each other, that's when you know that two drivers are interfering with each other. So you'll usually see a big peak and a big dip, and they'll be really close to each other. And when that happens, that's when your drivers are messed up. And I've seen that in a few IMs. I've seen that in I think a TRN IM. I've seen that in, oh gosh, what else? Maybe a KZ. I don't know. But there's definitely been a couple IMs that I've bought where there's been that really weird like phase inversion, and when that happens, you see the frequency response do some wild things. But that's not very often, and it's got to be really extreme interference to be able to detect that on a graph. There we go. So I will leave this one intact because I forgot that on the earbuds, at least the 15 millimeter, I forgot these caps keep everything together, so you can't just take them apart. That's why the driver fell apart on me. But yeah, Hodor, I should do this one day. I really need to graph it one more time. Here, let me graph it real quick. I'm gonna graph Hodor so I can take it apart. Oh, focus. There we go. Yeah, I'm gonna graph Hodor real quick. Just move you guys for a second. I'll put it back here like this. Greetings, GYF. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it. Greetings from sunny Florida, United States. I mean, it's not sunny right now. It's currently 5:30 in the morning, but greetings to you, my friend. How is the weather in Indonesia? Is it a lovely day outside? Chew teardown? Yeah, I can do one real quick. I can tear down Chew. Let me just measure this Hodor real quick. Actually, I might make a video out of the Hodor because this is actually a Hodor prototype. This is not a final unit. This is a special one. Shoot, we're done. Right. What the hell? That's not right. That is not right. I really need to fix this. Wow, that is bad. How come that does not graph like it used to graph? Summer and rainy. Wow. So in Florida, we have 2 seasons. We have hot and rainy, and cold and dry. And that's it. Oh, the looping monitor? Sorry. Yeah. Okay, I don't know what's going on here, but this is not how they graphed before. So there is something majorly wrong either with my coupler or something, or I damaged this somehow. Maybe it's because I don't have a... Oh, you know what? I don't have a dampener on there. That might have something to do with it. Okay, well, I will put that away for now and get back to that. But yeah, let's take apart Chew real quick. Let's get some Choo-Choo. How come it doesn't... Does it show me? Oh, it shows me on my thing. Oh, 11. Yeah, there it is. Okay. Sorry, guys. Sorry. I'm just going to get up real quick. Alright. Let me just do this. Bear with me for just a second, guys. While I adjust my tripod thingy. Alright, I'm going to take apart Chew real quick, and then I'm going to go... Because I did not get anything done. I apologize. Alright. So here's Chew. Choo-choo. I already took the screens off of these. So I bought my first pair on Amazon. Took them apart. Then I said, wait a second. I need a functioning pair so I can compare it to other IMs. And then I was like, oh shoot. Well, I'll buy another pair. And then I bought another pair. And these kind of have like a little bit of a buzzing, kind of like rattling sound in them. So, yeah, I don't really miss them. I actually barely listen to them at all. Even though I do like them, there's better stuff out there. So, let's crack them open real quick. So this is my stupid method of taking apart IMs. There are much easier ways of doing it, or different ways, but this really works for me. So what you do, be careful, because obviously you got a knife in your hand, and this damages blades, so obviously you got to replace them too. But I get a big set of these. I get like 6 blades for $1, and the handle. But yeah, anyway, so you take your little razor knife there, and actually I'm going to do it this way. Just put a little pressure there, hold the IM, you get something heavy. Kind of give it a little hit. Oh, nope, that didn't work. That just made me look like an idiot. Alright, well, let me do it on this side. But yeah, this is my lazy way of opening IMs. So I don't care if there's a little bit of physical damage. Come on, baby. Holy crap. That glue. Oh, there we go. Alright, there we go. So there's the Moondrop driver. I damaged it a little bit. It ain't too bad. You can be pretty rough with these. I mean, even if I I was being pretty careless, but you can see the damage is very minimal. I nicked a little bit of paint right there. You can see how rough I was with it. But yeah, there's just a little bit of paint missing there. A little bit missing there, but all in all, I got it apart. I didn't have to use any solvents or anything like that. Only took me like a second. So that's just my little stupid method of getting IMs open. At least the metal ones. Resin's a little bit different. Is it the same as other Moondrop IMs? What do you mean? Like the driver? Or the tuning? If you're asking, oh, sorry guys. I dropped out there for a second. If you're asking about the driver, all the drivers are different throughout pretty much every IM except for maybe what is it, Aria and Starfield and maybe Kato. I think one or two of those may use the same driver. I'm not 100% sure, but I know that that sometimes companies will use like the same driver for multiple IMs, but not for like budget ones like this. They'll use their own. They'll use their own driver. But yeah, that's pretty cool, man. Pretty cool. This is good glue too. Whatever they're using is good stuff. It's easy to remove. It provides a good amount of like shock resistance. And the drivers come out really easily. And I don't have to fight with them. Here we go. And there we go. Nice shiny driver. And I was looking at the I like the branding on the back too. That's pretty cool. And it's also a neat touch that they use this like black elastic kind of stuff to keep the wires attached. So even if you did get a bad solder joint, like that black elastic is gonna keep the wires attached. I don't know, it's just weird. It's crazy that they use that. But yeah, this, god damn it, this glue is very, very sticky stuff. It's very, very gooey and sticky. But yeah, there's the Moondrop driver. It's very similar to the 7 Hertz, the 7 Hertz Zero driver, or the, what do you call it, the Sol Notes Zero. It's very similar to that driver. But yeah, so there's that. And then let me grab one more. So there is, you guys remember the, what is it, Triple Win, was it Melee? So you guys remember the Triple Win Melee? So I took apart a Melee recently. I took 2 of them apart, so I have my own pair that I took apart. And then I made another IM out of it. And then I recently took apart another one. But look at this diaphragm. Does that look strange to you? How it's like shiny? I thought the Melee didn't have any kind of coating on its diaphragm. But this driver, painted? No, it's not painted. I mean, it might be like brushed on or like sprayed on, but it's not paint. It's like a metallized coating. It's hard to explain how they do it. It's like it's not electrolysis. It's called vapor deposition. But yeah, it's basically they use electricity in a vacuum chamber, and it grabs molecules from one piece of material and deposits them onto another. So you have an anode, a cathode, and you have your material on one side and the thing that you would like to plate on the other side. And yeah, so anyway, basically, yeah, do I have any Sony? Yes, I do. I do have a Sony DD. I have the, oh shoot, I couldn't tell you the model. It's the brother to the famous earbud model, whatever it is that they had, that all the audiophiles have been raving about. Let me see if I can find it. Yeah, I think 755, yeah. So I think this is the driver. This is either from that one, from the Sony, or this is from the Qdelix IMs. Let me see. I got two different ones. Kind of forgot because I didn't keep them together. But yeah, I'm pretty sure these are the Sonys here. And I got one without the dampener. I was trying to use it to fix another DD. But yeah, so I have those. They're really small. They're only like 7 millimeters. They're built really tough though. Oh, you know what? No, I think these are the Sonys. Yeah, I think these might be the Sonys. Either that or they're both Sony. No, I think those are the Qdelix. I think those are the Qdelix drivers. Pretty sure these are the Sonys right here. Yeah, I'm almost positive these are the Sony drivers. So yeah, MH, I think it's MH755 is the model. But yeah. Now, are these legit? I don't know. The guy that I got them from, he had gone through numerous pairs from numerous sellers, and he swears they're legit, because he had been on the hunt for a very long time to find legitimate ones. And I mean, you can still find them, but there are so many clones. It's like, I don't know, eight clones to every 2 legit pairs, or like 10 clones to every, like, 1 or 2 legit pairs. But yeah, they're pretty nice looking drivers from what I see. I can't see the diaphragm. It looks like dark in there. I would really like to take the lids off of these. I might actually do it because they don't have any dampeners on them. You can see there's no dampeners on either of them. I took them off because I was using them for something else. But yeah, I wouldn't mind taking those apart. At least it'd be cool to look at them underneath the microscope. See what's so special about them. It's crazy to me that people were raving about a $10 earbud originally bundled with a phone. Yeah, but you know what, man? They are really good. Like, I understand what the hype is about. When I heard them, and you gotta remember too, it was a different time back then. This is a few years ago, before Hi-Fi really started taking off and like building its name as being like solid quality. So this is kind of like before then, when people really had to hunt for like good sound, like budget sound. And I mean, I tried them out last year. My friend, he gave me two different pairs. He gave me the 755s, and I think it was the 750s. I want to say there were 2 different ones. And I mean, yeah, I listened to them, and I like right away I was like, okay, yeah, I understand why people like them. Like, it makes sense to me now because they are good. But yeah, they're interesting little drivers. I believe they're 8 millimeters. But yeah. But anyway, I'm more interested in these. Like I said, this is a melee driver, but it's coated in like beryllium. That totally looks like beryllium coating to me. It's like a nano beryllium, because you can see it next to the titanium. Like, so there's the titanium. You see how bright and shiny it is? And then look at the one on the right. It's like really dull, but it's still like see-through. It's still like clear. It's got some transparency to it, but at the same time, it's like, it's got this like dull shine to it. It's really interesting. My main grade T2 on the second day, 2-pin of some channel falls out. Who thinks what? I'm sorry, I don't quite understand what you're saying. Is beryllium coating a gimmick? No, not at all. I mean, I don't think it justifies all the hype. Especially with like other materials coming around, like LCP and stuff. Like it's kind of hard to explain, but it's material science is what they call it. You can look it up, but it's material science. Basically, with every variation, companies go through and they test and they redesign and they implement new formulations. You know, they experiment with putting the coating on the top side versus the bottom and all this stuff. And they do it over and over and over again until they get to a point where they have like the ideal result as far as, you know, performance goes. And so that's why drivers keep getting cheaper and cheaper. But anyway, you don't need beryllium coating to make a driver sound good anymore. Also, beryllium is extremely toxic, so you don't want to get any in your body. You don't want to inhale it or anything, because it will kill you. But yeah, but what I was gonna say with that is, with each iteration of driver, each design revision, they make the density of the materials, you know, much lower, or whatever you want to say. Like the mass of the driver is much less. So there's much less mass, but there's much more stiffness. Or the driver has like better characteristics as far as like rigidity and stuff goes. And that's basically what the metal is added for, is to give it a certain amount of rigidity and deflection when the driver moves. When it vibrates, so when you have a dome like this, it doesn't just move up and down, it does this. So it like wobbles. Okay? So there's a certain amount of stiffening that they want to achieve, or a certain amount of stiffness that they want to achieve. So they have to use a certain amount of whatever material they want to use. So that's why the liquid silicone, because they want a certain amount of mass, certain weight or density of material, and then they also want a certain amount of rigidity to that material. So obviously, the lighter the better, and the more rigid the better. So yeah. So basically, there are better materials out there now. And I think like what they're doing with LCP and whatnot is the way to go. But yeah, I mean, there is a reason for the beryllium coatings, but yeah, you don't know if a driver is real or fake or not. That's why I want to get an electron. What do you call it? Shoot, I forgot the name of it. Yeah, but basically, what it does is it shoots like X-rays, or it shoots rays of light at an item, and it gets back certain wavelengths of light, and those wavelengths that are reflected back tells it what kind of material it is. It's like spectroscopy, and so like basically it's called a handheld spectrometer. And yeah, so it basically tells you what the chemical composition of the item is. So I can actually look at this dynamic driver, and I can scan it with the with the device, and it'll tell me how much beryllium or plastic or whatever. It'll tell me the chemical composition, so I can see exactly what it's made up of. But yeah, so there's no way of knowing. Like, there are some indications visually. You can see different, like, imperfections or different shades of color or tint or whatever. There are various ways of kind of telling, but you spend enough time trying to fake something, you're gonna fake it. Question: I had a friend attach mod his chew without any internal wiring. He said it's quite an improvement. Yeah, I've seen his mods. I personally don't believe it makes a difference. I have the same wire. I have I mean, if you can hear a difference in wire, you got some angel ears. But yeah, I have the wire right here. I have the same wire. So this is the silver wire. But yeah, this is what they're using to wire it up. But yeah, I mean, I don't think it makes any difference really. I think you could use crap wire and it'd still sound pretty decent, but I don't know, could be wrong. I mean, for example, the wire I use in all my IMs is this, like, thin stuff right here. It's not very thick, but when you compare it to something like a DD wire, like a dynamic driver, a wire that you find in most, like, dynamic IMs, it's much thinner than the wire that you get out of the dynamic drivers. So, but yeah. Anyway, guys, I'm gonna get out of here. I'll catch you later. I hope you had fun hanging out with me. I had fun hanging out with you. I will have a con video out for you guys tomorrow. And, yeah. So look forward to that. I have lots of information. So, hope you guys have a good night. I'll see you later. Peace.